I was watching the news the other night, just scrolling through the usual feed,
Yeah.
and I saw a clip of the president traveling abroad. I've
Right.
seen this a million times. The plane lands, door opens, there's a little wave, a handshake with the prime minister.
Mhm.
It all looks so polite.
It's designed to look polite. It's designed to look effortless. I mean, that is the theater of diplomacy.
Exactly. It looks like a standard business trip, just, with nicer suits and a red carpet. But after digging into the documents for this deep dive, I don't think I can ever look at those clips the same way again.
Hmm.
Because what looks like a simple handshake is actually the tip of an iceberg that costs, and I literally had to triple check this number, up to $200 million.
Per day.
$200 million a day. That is roughly the daily GDP of an entire small country burned in 24 hours just to keep one person breathing.
It sounds staggering, doesn't it? But when we unpack what goes into that number, you start to realize it isn't just a travel budget. We aren't talking about first-class tickets. We are talking about the invisible machine.
Right. It is the most expensive, complex, and surgically precise security operation on the planet.
And that's our mission today. We are going to strip away the smiles and the photo ops and really look at the logistics. Because honestly, my assumption was pretty basic. I figured the Secret Service flies out a week early, checks the hotel exits, and that's it.
If they only started a week out, the president wouldn't be going anywhere. That would be a logistical disaster.
Okay.
No, if we want to understand the scale of this, we have to rewind the clock way back. We are talking 4 to 5 months before the president even steps onto a plane.
4 to 5 months. So right now, they are planning trips for what, next season?
At least. And it all starts in the West Wing. Long before a security agent even puts on an earpiece, you have the National Security Advisor, the Chief of Staff.
Yeah.
They're all briefing the president.
Okay, so this is just the why are we going phase. The political strategy, correct. But the moment the president says, yes, let's go to this country, the bureaucracy just explodes into action. The very next day, they draft a document called the Presidential Decision Memo, or PDM.
The PDM. Sounds official.
It's the lock. The PDM locks in the dates and the countries, but that's just the cover sheet, really. After the PDM, they generate a much more intense document. The Trip Directive Order, or TDO.
I saw the TDO in the notes. It sounded less like a travel itinerary and more like a war plan.
It essentially is a battle plan. The TDO outlines specific security threats, the intelligence landscape, the hard goals of the mission. It's the blueprint.
And once that blueprint is out, the clock starts ticking.
Loud and clear. And this is where the manpower comes in.
Massive manpower, I'm guessing.
Huge. Within the same week, representatives from all the agencies, Secret Service, State Department, military, they all meet at the Eisenhower Executive Office building.
What for?
They're there to nominate experts for the Advanced Survey Team.
The Advanced Survey Team. I've heard this term. These are the guys on the ground, right?
These are the backbone of the entire operation. And we aren't talking about a couple of people with clipboards. This is a whole team. By the time the trip is still 2 months away, this team is already downrange in the host country.
2 months early. They're basically moving in.
They are invading, politely. They link up with the local U.S. Embassy and the host country's security forces to literally map out every single inch of the president's path.
And when you say map out, I mean the level of obsessiveness in the route planning was honestly kind of terrifying to read about.
It has to be. In their world, paranoia is a virtue. One of the golden rules they operate by is the 20-minute rule.
Let's unpack that. What is the 20-minute rule?
It's simple but rigid. They select travel routes so that the time between any two secure locations never exceeds 20 minutes.
What, 20? Is that a magic number?
It's about exposure. The longer the motorcade is on the road, the longer the president is a target. But it's not just time. They measure physics. They study these roads with microscopic detail.
How so?
For example, they calculate the exact position of the sun for the specific time of day the motorcade will be passing.
The sun! You're kidding!
No, for glare. They need to know if the sun will be facing the drivers or the counter-assault teams. If a driver is blinded for a split second, that's a vulnerability.
Wow. Okay.
They also measure the width of the roads.
Why does the width matter?
Escape routes. They have to ensure there's enough clearance for that massive convoy to perform a full U-turn or a J-turn if they run into an ambush.
Right, because you can't exactly do a three-point turn in the beast when you're under fire.
Precisely. And every primary route has to have a backup. And those backups can't have blind turns, narrow alleys, any choke points.
I also saw a note about hospitals. This part really drove home the stakes for me.
That is non-negotiable. They identify a level 1 trauma hospital, preferably with a helipad, that's within a 20-minute radius of any point on the route.
So no matter where they are, they know exactly where to go.
Exactly. And they don't just look it up online. They drive the route, they time it. They often have agents stationed at the hospital in advance, holding a secure corridor to the OR just in case.
It's total control. But what about the one thing they can't control? Dead zones. Cell service. The president can't have no service on his phone, I assume.
The president cannot have one bar of service. It's just not allowed. He has to have constant, instant contact with the White House and the Pentagon.
So what do if there's a dead zone on the route?
The White House Communication Agency scans the entire route. If they find a spot with weak coverage, they don't just ignore it.
They fix it.
They fix it, yes. They will install repeater antennas, bring in mobile satellite trucks, whatever it takes to bridge that gap.
They literally rebuild the local cell network for a 20-minute drive. That is wild.
It's infrastructure on demand. And speaking of infrastructure, let's talk about the airports. You can't just land Air Force One anywhere.
Yeah, the plane itself is huge.
It's a flying fortress. It needs a runway at least 150 feet wide and 10,800 feet long.
Which rules out a lot of smaller airports.
It does. In fact, back in 2009, President Obama had to switch airports for a visit because the usual base runway was just slightly too short for the safety margins.
A few feet off and the whole plan changes.
Safety margins are everything, but here's the detail that really highlights the paranoia of the operation. The fuel.
Oh, this is the part that made me laugh. They don't trust the local gas.
They do not. I mean, imagine the risk of contaminated fuel. So quality managers will actually take samples of the local jet fuel.
Okay, that makes sense. They test it on site.
Oh, no. They ship those samples back to the United States for lab testing.
They FedEx the gas back to America.
Essentially, yes. They have to ensure it meets the specific purity standards before they authorize filling the tanks.
Unbelievable.
And while that's happening, snipers are positioning themselves on every roof, hangar, and tower at the airport. Total lockdown.
So, the president lands, the gas is tested, snipers are watching. Now they have to go to the hotel. And I assume they aren't just booking the presidential suite online.
Far from it. Once they pick a hotel, they essentially redesign the building.
Redesign it how?
Well, first is the bubble. They choose a floor that's easiest to defend. Then they block off the floor immediately above it and the floor immediately below it.
The sandwich method, so no neighbors stomping around.
No neighbors, no drilling through the ceiling, no explosives under the floor. Then they go into the room itself. Every door lock is replaced. They install specialized bulletproof ballistic glass in the windows.
Wait, they replace the actual windows?
Sometimes they replace them or they'll install a shield behind them, and they even swap out the television and other electronics.
Why the TV?
To make sure there are no hidden listening devices. They trust nothing. And somewhere else in that hotel, they build a full war room. It becomes a forward operating base.
Okay, so the room is a bunker, but the president has to eat. And food seemed like the easiest way to get to someone.
It is a major vulnerability. The food protocol is extensive. To prevent poisoning, they often set up a duplicate kitchen.
A duplicate kitchen?
Yes. The president's meals are prepared in 2 different locations simultaneously. If one batch is compromised, or even just suspected of being compromised, the backup is ready to go.
That's efficient.
And before the president takes a single bite, the food is tested in a microbiological lab that they build right there in the hotel.
They build a lab in the hotel.
A fully functional biolab. They test for pathogens, poisons, you name it.
It's incredible. They basically erase the hotel's identity and replace it with a fortress. Okay, so eventually he has to leave the hotel for the actual event. The venues must be a nightmare.
They're treated like military installations. Any high-rise buildings nearby are sealed, security posts on the roofs. On the ground, the perimeter is secured with anti-ram barricades.
These are the heavy-duty ones.
These can stop a 7-ton truck going 80 kilometers an hour.
Wow.
And when the president stands up to speak, he's standing behind the Blue Goose.
The Blue Goose. That's the podium, right?
It's the podium, but it's designed by the Secret Service to be a physical shield. It's armor plating disguised as furniture. And they don't just look up and around, they look down.
Down?
Ground vibration sensors to check for tunnels being dug underneath the stage.
Tunnels. They really do think of everything.
Yeah.
So all this planning is happening for months. When does the heavy metal actually show up?
About 10 to 15 days before the president arrives, things get very real. A second advance team lands to conduct live rehearsals.
Rehearsals. Like a play.
Like a military drill. Full dress rehearsals of the motorcade routes, the airport arrival, everything. They even test their own security by sending agents through with fake passports to see if they can catch them.
They red team themselves.
Constantly. And the gear starts arriving, the airlift. It takes 2 to 3 C-17 Globemaster cargo planes just to transport the president's equipment.
And what's on those planes?
Everything. The Marine One helicopters, radar systems, canine dogs, and, of course, the cars.
The cars. We had to talk about the Beast.
The Beast. It's technically a limousine, but that's a deception. It is a 9,000-kilogram tank disguised as a Cadillac.
9,000 kilograms. That's heavier than an elephant.
It's built on a truck chassis. The doors are as heavy as the cabin doors on a Boeing 757. The windows are 5 inches thick.
5 inches.
Multi-layered ballistic glass. The car is hermetically sealed against chemical attacks, has its own oxygen supply.
And I heard it carries blood.
It carries a chilled supply of the president's specific blood type for emergencies. It's a rolling ER and a bunker on wheels.
So the president lands on Air Force One, which is a whole other topic, 4,000 square feet, EMP-proof, and then hops into this tank. But he's not driving alone.
No, the motorcade itself is a mobile fortress, a masterpiece of choreography.
Walk us through it.
Okay. At the very front, you have the route car and pilot car clearing the path. Then sweepers, which are motorcycles ensuring the convoy never, ever has to stop.
Motion of safety.
Exactly. Then comes the Beast. But here's the trick. There are usually multiple identical beasts in the convoy.
The shell game.
Right. Attackers don't know which one holds the president. Behind the Beast is the halfback, with the immediate security detail, weapons drawn. Then you have the electronic countermeasure vehicles jamming remote bombs or drones.
And a hazmat team I saw.
A hazmat unit, and a vehicle called the Roadrunner, which is the mobile satellite hub keeping everything connected.
It's an army on wheels. But, you know, we've talked tech, guns, armor. But there was one section in the source material that just, it really surprised me. It was about nature.
Ah, yes. You can't negotiate with nature, so you have to dominate it.
The monkey story. Please explain the monkey story.
It's a real thing. In countries like India, macaques, small monkeys, can be a genuine nuisance. They can bite, steal things.
And you can't exactly put handcuffs on a monkey.
No. So the team has been known to hire people to mimic the sounds of langurs, a larger type of monkey, to scare the smaller monkeys away.
They hire professional monkey impersonators. That's just fantastic.
Security extends to everything. They also employ kite catchers.
Kite catchers?
In some regions, a drifting kite could obscure a line of sight or even carry a threat. So they station people on rooftops with long sticks to physically intercept any balloons or kites.
That is fascinating. But then there's the biological security measure that I think is the most extreme, the toilet.
The toilet protocol. It sounds funny, but it is critical counterintelligence.
So just to be clear, the president does not use the hotel bathroom.
No. The team brings a portable toilet with them, and all the waste is sealed and transported back to the United States.
They fly the sewage home.
They do. And the reason is very serious.
Wow.
They want to prevent foreign intelligence agencies from analyzing the waste.
What could they learn from that?
Anything. Health issues, medications they're taking, mental state. Is the president on heart medication? That could be huge leverage in a negotiation.
Wow. Okay, I never would have thought of that. They lock down every molecule of information.
Absolutely.
So you have this overwhelming amount of logistics, and then the trip ends, the president leaves. What happens then?
And that is the surreal part. The president departs, and once the wheels are up, the machine just dissolves.
How fast?
Within 28 hours, the entire logistical footprint vanishes. The barricades are gone, the antennas are down, the hotel room is back to normal. It disappears without a trace.
And we go back to that number we started with. $200 million.
For a handshake.
It really makes you think about the duality of it. On one hand, they're the most powerful person on Earth, but on the other, inside this bubble, they're basically just a piece of cargo being moved through a completely sanitized artificial environment.
It is the paradox of power. To be that important means you lose the freedom to just be. You don't see the real country. You see the route the Secret Service cleared for you. You're a package that must be delivered safely at any cost.
Well, next time I see a clip of the president walking down a red carpet, I'm not going to be looking at the smile. I'm going to be looking for the kite catchers on the roof.
And the backup limo in the alley.
Exactly. Thanks for listening to this deep dive into the $200 million fortress. It's been a wild ride.
Always a pleasure.
Catch you next time.